all the wrong moments and from all the wrong angles, but it's photography we get to do. We are now ascending to the Piazzale Michelangelo, where there is a copy of the David. The sunset in the country. In the summer, I can imagine this place is unmanageable, intolerable, perhaps even too crowded. But early February in the off-season, it is quite suitable for claustrophobics as well. Kind of give me an odd view walking up backwards. Sometimes one should do such things. Maybe it can be completely unexpected. It's all Michelangelo. I was hoping to catch the sunrise, but with the mist was going to prevent that. Right here. Maria over there. Hard to see, I know, in this mist, but this, the other side, the back side of that wall, our side, so to say, at this point, every time I look there, I think that is quintessential Tuscany. That is the sort of pre-fall beauty that the Romantics sought through their poetry and their art in the early 19th century. Man Before the Fall, the Garden of Eden. This square, this massive square, is hideous. And it didn't used to be. I've seen pictures of it from not long ago. It used to have beautiful planters and a fountain. It was quite lovely, but it's not rid of all of that. But that is a copy of David. They're apparently renovating it. You know, it's funny. The story of David and Goliath is always presented as the underdog against superior force, fight against tyranny, etc., etc. But if you look at the story actually closely, it's horrifying. Because Goliath was actually, if he had been real, he probably suffered from gigantism. And if you read the text in the Bible, he needed a servant to help him walk. He was probably in a physically dire condition, in extreme agony. And it was only his size that put him in the position he was in. I'm confident that his forces were hopeful that his very mass would intimidate and cow enemies and therefore preclude any kind of actual combat, or that he would be able to use his size to physically crush his enemy, because I'm pretty certain he could not actually engage in any kind of skilled combat. And so here you have David, this little upstart, who refuses to even face him in honorable combat. Kills him by throwing a rock at him from a sling. There's nothing brave or honorable about that. That's the coward's way out. And so the story of Goliath, I feel, should not be read as a paean against tyranny, but as a story of how power in this world works. I said, Florence does have green faces. That's the living behind it. This is my favorite spot in France. It is an amazing 12th century church. It contains stunning, very well preserved frescoes from the 14th century, and also gorgeous 15th century crypt tomb, which was utterly unfamiliar until this year. Probably make it turn to reach more close, but certainly it does not seem I don't think we'll be able to go in and see over. But and also for those of you who might be watching from your stair stepper, you might appreciate some verisimilitude. You know, the problem with Florence, this is like Florence, but especially Florence, in German they call it the Qual der Wahl. There are just too many choices of where to go and what to see, what paths to walk. And that's why I have no problem coming back here repeatedly. There are always new avenues I have not explored, new sights I have not seen, new artwork I have yet to discover, and new artwork that perhaps other people have yet to discover. So, the answer to my question of whether the church is open has been clearly answered. It is not. Well then, let us abide a bit here. More stairs for verisimilitude. I always wonder when I see spaces like this that have obviously been filled in, what was its original purpose? Was it a gate? Is that a drawbridge from there? Is that what the holes on the side of the gate were? Slot for the chain. And sadly, for many of these venerably ancient structures, there aren't necessarily answers. Records do not necessarily survive or were not kept. And so sometimes they don't know. Which, for inquisitive individuals such as myself, that lack of answer can be so frustrating. But perhaps it is a lesson in, what can we call it? Patience. Yes. Patience. And acceptance. Accept the things that one cannot change. In this case, a lack of knowledge. And why does it matter, you might ask? I feel more real the more connected I am to the past. And the more connected I am to the past, the more connected I am to the present, because I have an understanding of what has come before. And those connections, that network of interconnectivity of knowledge, of awareness, is tangible for me. It's quite palpable. All the bells. Bells in the midst. Let us just tarry a moment, shall we, dear viewer? That would be the 3/4 hour bell. That is the nice thing about many cities in Europe. They actually ring the bells on the hours, on the 1/4 hour and the 1/2 hour and the 3/4 hour. So you can sort of keep track of time that way. The bells in the distance. Not certain whether it's picking up or not. If it is, I'm glorious. If not, I'm sorry. Road 50 years only. Don't quote me on that though, but I think it is. Also, practically a highway as far as the plane is concerned. There's these mini trails up on the side. No, it's really not cigarette smoking. So smokers, please go smoke somewhere where you're not polluting everyone else's air. Many of my dear friends are smokers. Please be as considerate as you can and not share your habit with others. Flags knows how to hold in them. People do what they want to do. Is actually a park, memorial park, and dedicated to the fallen in World War I. There's a single stone in the center of it, basically saying that we grateful people to the fallen. And it was 1827. And the implication is that this will be the last time such a horror is wrought on the world. And a sense of foreboding and dread that I experience when I read that date. And it's terrible. We all know. And now, as the European Union may be on the point of disintegrating, and we are reverting to a sort of tribalism, I once more fear, absolutely fear, what for when we fall into tribes, then we start to fight over resources, and then the killing starts. Sorry, is that too much for this morning? Sorry to walk by a war memorial. I always throw a little maudlin in the rose. Dear viewer, if it was unpleasant to you, then do not repine. I apologize sincerely. putting it together to a day before anniversary. I have to say, it's not wonderfully peaceful. It's lovely, the road. In the gates. But remember, the hero is always punished when they look. Nearly always. That is the sin of perception. And of course, the welcoming glass shards installed into the top of this wall, complemented by the delightful dark wire. So there's obviously something of value on the other side of that wall. Is an elementary school, apparently. Okay, so maybe that glass is to keep the children in. Oh no, it's a dead end. I may have to return the way I came, which is fine. I don't mind climbing that way. It's probably be just as beautiful in that direction. That's why. Well, let's see. Maybe it will commit pedestrian traffic. And it's simply cars may not proceed. So, I'll go back anyway. The mist is dissolving before becoming sun. Oh no, my battery's almost dead and I didn't think to burn a second. Says, and do this tomorrow morning and hope that it is equally mystical. Can't believe I just did that. Stupid tongues are the lowest form of wit. They really are. I'm going to be very amused if I get to reclimb this very steep slope, because there's in fact not a footpath. I'm getting an impression it's not a footpath. And yet these cars can hold a way down here. It might be. There's just no passage for cars. There's a path. Well, let's see what happens. It will either be delightful or the beginning of a horror movie. Could go either way. And this is how travel adventure works, dear viewers. One simply strikes out and wanders, and one will invariably be rewarded.